Hi everyone, so for this tutorial I'm going to be combining two designs of bustier together, a structured neckline and a scalloping hem, and I hope it is something you would like to learn. Please, if this is your first time on this channel, kindly smash the subscribers button so that you'll be the first to know when we upload any new video. You're welcome to Sew Junkies, and on today's tutorial we'll be making use of our previous pattern. You don't throw your patterns away, you work so hard and it's going to be useful to you. So if you want to know how we did that, we're going to be dropping the link in the description box so that you just go over and watch and learn how we did this. But what we'll be doing is the reuse of this pattern. So what I did is to measure 2 inches above from the pattern. These 2 inches is going to help us create that our structured design, and then I just placed my pattern. This pattern is for the same size, is for the same person. So if you haven't watched that video, please just pause, go over to that video. It will just take you a few minutes, and when you are done, come back, let us continue. So what I just did was to pin my pattern in place, adding an extra 2 inches. So the extra 2 inches I added is where my pattern was placed. I started the pattern from the 2 inches I marked at the top. So as you can see, there's extra at the top, which is 2 inches, and I also added extra at that hem, about 2 inches as well. So the previous blouse was just a normal blouse length, but because of the design that I will be having at the hem, I'm just going to add extra to that hem. So whatever allowance we're adding to the front, we're going to be adding to the back only at the hem, not at the top part, because that structured neckline is just for the front only. Don't forget, for this particular pattern from our previous tutorial, we added side allowance already. So for this cutting, we're just adding a sewing allowance to join our pieces together, and then we're just going to mark where our armhole is ending, and after that we're just taking 1 inch forward. We're just going to mark 1 inch forward. The previous tutorial had a yoke and this one doesn't, so we just mark 1 inch away from the armhole. I hope you get that. The next thing, we're going to be cutting our back bodies. For this particular top, I'm going to be using lacing. Unlike the previous tutorial was just zipper. It was zipper we used, but for this one we're going to be using lacing back. So what I did was to measure 2 inches away from the zipper allowance, and that will be what we'll be using for this tutorial. So we're just going to minus that 2 inches and then pin down. That's all for the back. And then, like I told you earlier, we're going to be adding to the hem of the blouse. We just want a longer top because of the scalloping design that will be at the hem. We don't want a situation where our scalloping now get to our navel. You understand? You saw how it was on the thumbnail, and we're going to try as much as possible to replicate that. If you haven't subscribed, guys, try and subscribe. Immediately you subscribe, for every time we'll upload a new video on this channel, you will be the first to get notified. So please subscribe and like, comment and share. It will really mean a lot to us. So like I said, we minus the 2 inches and then added ½ inch seam allowance. That's it's all we did. So you are just going to pin it down and then add the seam allowance to this opening at the middle. It is just that easy. So if you usually sew on 1/4 of an inch when you are joining your pieces together, please let that be what you will add as seam allowance. if you usually sew on 1/2 inch, please do add that allowance to it. Sometimes we make the mistake of adding a particular inch of allowance, and then when we're sewing, we either take in excess of the allowance that we added, or we don't take up to. So please don't make that mistake. Always remember, whatever amount of allowance you add to your pattern, that should be what you will sew out. If not, you either have a shortage or an excess over your measurement. So that aside, you're just going to cut your pattern just like so, and we're going to set that aside. So now we're done cutting the back bodies, we're done cutting the front bodies. So you're just going to try as much as possible to label your pattern, just so it's easy for you, so you don't make any mistakes, because most times patterns like this, when they are now much, they now get confusing. So please make sure you add markings to your pattern. So like I explained here, the pattern came with 1.5 inch allowance, and since I'm going to be lacing the blouse, I really don't think it will be necessary anymore. So what I did was to cut out the 1 inch. Like I said, I like my pattern. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to cut it or modify it. I wanted the modification to just be on my pattern. I know, yes, it is a waste of 1 inch. Yes, I know. But if your pattern is not too important to you, you can actually cut on the pattern, cut the 1 inch out first before cutting it on your fabric. That way you save your fabric. So we're just cutting the 1 inch out from the side of our bodies, both the front and the back pieces, so that way we don't have any excess in our pattern seam line. You get? That's why we're cutting it out. I'm going to be sewing by 1/2 inch, so I left 1/2 inch for side seam. Now we're done with the cutting. We're just going to pin our pieces down. So what I like to do most times is to add this very soft light wadding. Sometimes it can be bulky, especially if the cloth on its own, if the fabric you're using is thick, and for this particular one it is a thick crepe and it had stretch, so I had to stabilize it for my for a project that I did at the shop. I had to stabilize it with a paper stay, so I just added this soft breast tube or wadding or light breast pad to it, to give it that there's this texture it gives. It makes the cloth just feel full on my body. I'm quite a slim person, so I don't like when the dress is just, or a dress or a blouse is just huggy without creating any fit on my body. So that's what that wadding does for me. But in any case, if you don't need it, you can just work with the light with the paper stay or cloth stay, and that would just be enough. So it is not compulsory for you to add wadding. I had wadding when I make even the normal Igbo blouse. It just gives it that that fullness. It makes it fit better for me. So now I'm done sewing all of my pieces together, both the front pieces and the back pieces. I've not added the back to the front. I'm just still working with front and back at this point. So the first thing I marked is that neck depth, so I minus 3 inches. So the next thing, I just deepen it to 8 inches. If 8 inches is too much for you, you can use 7 inches. You can use 7 inches. It will just so that the boobs doesn't show But the way I plan to style this particular top is to actually wear a net on the inside. Then I will wear this blouse over it. So if you are wearing it without any net, or it's just going to be like that, you should try as much as possible to deepen the neckline however you want it. So for this scallopy down part, I had to get another phone so as to see exactly what I'm drafting. So it's far easier that way. You don't just memorize it, and then at the end of the day, once you are done, you see that it is what you ordered versus what you got, So have the picture of the design you want to create, and just try as much as possible to just do so. So for this middle one, I took 4 inches, and then the next one I shortened it by 2 inches. So the front one is longer than the other two at the side, and I just extended it to the back like so. I hope by the time I wear this blouse, you see that all of these came out very well. So like I will always say on this channel, practice makes perfect. If you are not going to practice what you are learning, it's as good as you've not learned anything. So please practice it. Let us hear in the comment section. This is something that if you have any question, that you should be able to ask, and I should be able to direct you. So this will just make a very perfect birthday shoot blouse. And if it is something you've not done before, I'm promising you that this video will be very helpful. It will be very helpful. You see how it came out. You see how it is looking. So at this point, I'm just trying to get that nice curve very well, so that it looks like what I ordered, you get. So it's just coming along very well. I'm just cutting out all my excess wording, so to speak, so that I know that at the end of it all, everything is just going to be as good as I want it to be. So here now, what you can do is you can actually lose the seam a little bit, and then just cut the part out, because cutting that part out will make your seam at that hem more relaxed. It will make it more relaxed. So that's just what I'm doing. And at this point, I have not even ironed the wording to the main piece. So since I haven't done that, it will just be easy to cut out that excess. Just like I did for the hem, I'm going to cut out the excess wording from the top part as well. The top part is very, very important that you do, because there's going to be boning at that top part. So you don't need any more bulkiness at that top part. So please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like, share, comment. Let us hear your thoughts. If you really enjoyed this video, let us know in the comment section. Please and please and please and please, we are here for you. We are here to support you in your tailoring journey. So here I've joined the two sides together, the front and the back. So I'm just marking out my bony channel. So like I said, whatever preference of bony channel you like or design you want, you can just create it. So I'm just trying as much as possible to direct my boning to my tummy part, so that it snatches when we are lacing the bag. It really creates that fitting at that waistline. So please let us know if this is how you usually do yours, or if you tried this, you liked it and it was helpful. So by the time you're done, you're just going to also sew the lining. So for this part, I'm just showing you what I did. For the lining, I did not do bust caging. I just added my wording, my cup to my lining, and then I added my boning to my main fabric. I didn't use a regular boning. I used the stiffer boning. I actually prefer that. It just creates that straight fit that I like. So for that top part to create that structure, this was how it was, regular boning, the sewable boning that I sewed at that hem. And here is the final look. Here is the final look. So if you want to add beadings, accessories at this point, you can now do that. So please, if this tutorial was helpful and was a nice watch, give us a like. Please comment that you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.